The FNL Network Talk Show.
Welcome back to another episode of the FNL Network Talk Show. I'm your host, Diana Gebbia, and I am joined by my amazing co-host today. We have Kat, we have Eugenia, and joining for the first time is Holly. So welcome, Holly.
Hi, how is everyone? Glad to be here.
It's nice to have you here.
Yeah, we're all happy to be here. We're doing well. Before we jump into all the fun we have to talk about today, though, I do want to take a second and recognize and remember Queen Elizabeth II. Unfortunately, she passed away earlier in the week, and she just had a profound impact on so many people in her over 70-year reign. So, of course, I wanted to take a moment and remember her and acknowledge that, and of course say that our hearts are with the royal family and, of course, all of Great Britain right now.
I really appreciate that because I'm English, and I didn't think I would be affected by it. But when I heard that she was ill, the royal family were rushing up there, it hit me, and it hit me quite hard. And it's like the weirdest feeling. Even talking about it now, I kind of have these chills, and I'm really upset. I kind of sang the national anthem to myself last night, and I'm not a royalist at all. And I'm really moved. I have shed a tear. And it's strange because all we've known is Queen Elizabeth, and she was wonderful. She was working a day, 2 days before she passed. And, you know, the woman must have known that her health was going downhill. And I just think, what a vibrant, strong, phenomenal, loving woman who's given her whole life to Britain, to the British people, to the Commonwealth. And, you know, I just think, what an amazing woman. And it's affected everyone in Britain. It really has. I think everyone's deeply moved. We are going through a mourning process, and it's kind of like losing your favorite grandma. It really is. And, you know, it's strange too, because we're getting Charles, and I've got to say, you know, Charles, what an incredible man. You know, your mother's just died and you are launched into a job that you've been preparing your whole life for. You have to address the British public. We have a pomp and circumstance. We have certain steps we go through when a monarch dies and when a new monarch replaces them. You know, we have councils meetings, and, you know, Charles has to go through all this when his mum's just died. And I just think, what a phenomenal, strong, amazing man to stand there, to embrace his duty in life and to give himself to the British public. And I really do have chills about the whole thing because it's very emotional. It's very moving to be a British person. And there is a huge sense of loss, but at the same time, there's a sense of new beginnings. And I'm going to say it was really beautiful because you will have seen pictures, but there was double rainbows over Buckingham Palace. There was rainbows over Windsor Castle, and I think there's something like that in Balmoral. And you kind of think, was an higher power, you know, saying everything's going to be fine, because the rainbow's beautiful. It's very beautiful. And we had, you know, beautiful sunlight on all the palaces, and it's kind of like, I'm not going to say redemption, that's the wrong word, but it was a beautiful ending and a beautiful start to a new beginning. And I just think, you know, my heart goes out to my nation, to the British people, to the Commonwealth, and everybody that's mourning the loss. You know, there's so many Americans that are moved. There's so many people all over the world who knew Queen Elizabeth, and she's been, you know, our monarch for the whole of, well, for 70 years, for most people's lives. So it's a massive impact on people worldwide. And it's very, very sad, really sad. But at the same time, you know, she lived a phenomenal life. She was 96 years old. And I'm going to say, I'm very proud to be British right now, very proud to be British. So.
Thank you so much for sharing all that, especially because, as you mentioned, she has had an impact on everyone globally. But to hear it from someone who has lived in Britain and, you know, is British and has experienced her reign for herself, like, it's very moving just to hear that from you. So thank you for sharing that with us.
No, it's fine. She's like our favorite grandma, you know. And it was funny because growing up, my actual gran looked like her doppelganger. So I always was, you know, the Queen was literally the spitting image of my own grandma. And, you know, what a wonderful, wonderful lady. That's all I can say. She was wonderful.
Yeah.
So.
Add to this, you guys, I met her when I was in like my school. It's so crazy because I'm in Russia, where I'm not proud to be from right now, just because of the war. But I remember, because my dad was a scientist, I went to this school, you know, like our education wasn't based on like how much you pay, and my kids go to private school in LA. But, you know, at the time I went to a really good school in Russia, and I remember being a dancer and the queen walking in to say hi to all the girls who were dancers. And it was just such a special moment, because we never saw a lot of people from abroad, because it was like post-Soviet Russia, so still weird political regime. And a lot of my British friends are very touched, but I vividly remember her presence and her service. And I think it's a tough life, honestly.
I think being a member of the royal family, I wouldn't wish it on anybody. I really wouldn't. I think it's a very, very hard life. I think it's probably a very lonely life. And I think, you know, it's a double-ended sword. You know, they have this, they're born into a duty, they embrace it, but it's never a normal life. It's never a normal life. And I have so much respect for them. You know, whether or not the monarchy should continue, that's a different discussion to have. But you know, the job they do and everything they give up, just what amazing people. Because I couldn't do it. I'm sure none of you could do it. And I just think, wow to them, you know, it's to be able to do that as a person, just give yourselves to like Charles was giving himself to the British public, and he, you know, formally announced, you know, that he would do the best he can until the end of his days. And just, it's so giving. I know it's also a duty they're born into, but it's just wonderful. It really is.
Definitely. I think that she was an example of a strong woman, and I know that's something we have to talk about today. So why don't we dive into our topics? All right. So I don't know if you guys heard of a little movie called Don't Worry, Darling, starring Harry Styles, directed by Olivia Wilde, and Florence Pugh, of course, starring too. There's been a lot of drama surrounding this movie. Like, even before the premiere was remotely ready, like, it's just been nonstop drama. Now, lately, there's been some talk about Harry Styles making triple the amount of Florence Pugh. I think she only took home like maybe 700,000, 750,000, but Harry Styles is making $2.5 million. So I've got some beautiful ladies on our panel today. We are all women of the industry, and I want to know what your take on this is. As women, why are we still making less than men in the year 2022? And do you feel like you need to prove something to everyone in this industry? I'm going to kick things off with Eugenia today.
Really? Can I give it to Holly? Because I feel like I want to welcome her to our family. And
Sure, go ahead. I love that. Some hospitality here at the FNL Network Talk Show.
Hello, everyone. First, in love with everyone's energy. I love it. You guys are powerful women. What an honor it is to be here. Eugenia, you feel like I have it, so I won't fail you. So I definitely think that their roles should be balanced. I think that Cameron Diaz really proved herself. I think that she worked her tail off, and I think that she trademarked for every young and old.
I love how you guys, everybody's taking care of everybody in the show. It's so nice, you know, and that's so true. It's not what happens in Hollywood a lot of times, just having an experience in that. And, you know, talking about so much drama, like, obviously I know the press loves to feed on the drama, and I honestly don't know the facts. I think it's really hard because it's never black and white. It's always a gray area, and there's so much scandals about, like, Shia LaBeouf being part of the film first, and then, you know, he put his part of the story while Olivia said completely something else in the press. So I think it's always very hard to judge people from their outside perspective. And, you know, Olivia denies that she paid less to her female cast. And, you know, I don't want to defend one side or the other. I know that Shia, we did a film together, and he's an amazing actor, also very difficult to work with, but also like super, super talented. So I think everything comes at a compromise, but I do believe in equal rights and equal pay. You know, working with Equal Means Equal, an amazing organization. And we've been on the road for a while trying to change the legislation. And if you guys listening, hopefully you can follow up and learn and educate a little bit more about it. But I still know that women are paid 30 cents less to like $1 to men now in this country. And it hasn't changed. And we're trying really, really hard to get all the unions to, you know, to actually do some action-oriented action here with the politics and everything else. And it's not easy with the corruption, even in America, like you would think it's a free country. So I think it goes to the bigger picture. I think it's all about research and educating yourself and asking for what you deserve. It's a big thing, I think, for, you know, for women, because we've been in patriarchy for so long. And, you know, I hopefully universally with the storm coming, the witches are coming, and it's changing female power back, you know, balancing it out. Hopefully it will change, but I know definitely as women, and speaking from personal perspective and not judging anybody, I know that I always have to triple, you know, prove myself and do more work on set than anybody else. So I kind of get used to it. And thank God there are people who acknowledge that now at the very least. So that's my share.
Yeah, I was actually going to say, because you're obviously in this industry working so hard, is there a specific moment you recall when you would feel comfortable sharing where you felt you were treated differently on set because you're a woman?
All the time. I mean, you know, I just got a film now, and one of my best friends, not best friends, but like my partner, Barry Katz, who started Chappelle, you know, really talented manager who cares about artists, called me like 9 a.m. Monday morning because like I got you this film, and it's a little bit a different typecasting to play a reporter, and I never play this. I'm like, it's not a Russian girl of the oldest profession. And I'm like, okay, I can audition for that. I can do a self-tape in 5 next minutes, even though I'm driving my kids to school. And he's like, no, you got it. Like, just, you got it. And I was like, what? That doesn't ever happen. Like, you know, you have to audition, you have to prove that you're too pretty, you're not pretty, you're too smart, you're not smart. It's like all these games and all these balls that you have to juggle just to prove that you are enough, you know? So I think every set that I've been to, it's been a challenge. And like, I've been on sets with a lot of action male stars where we were put in different hotels, which were not the same as the male action stars. And
Wow.
I had to call the director and the production. And actually, one time I walked out of the screening because I thought they cut me out just for no reason. But yeah, that happened.
Wow, that's really intense. I like, thank you for sharing that. And it's just proof to everyone watching, because sometimes you feel like, all right, we're so many years ahead, this is not happening still, but it is still very much going on. And I'm glad that we have the platform to acknowledge stuff like this. It looks like Holly is back. And I know she was bringing up a lot of good information and she had a lot of insight to share. So how about we throw it back to you, Holly? What are your thoughts about women in the industry, this Don't Worry Darling drama?
As we all know, Harry Styles is more of a namer. You know, he can sell more theater seats, tripled, quadrupled, whatever, has doubled, and all because he's got value. You know, he's got value because of who he is. I mean, he's Harry Styles. You know, that's really not hard to believe one versus the other. I mean, you know, it's typical Hollywood. You know, so his appearance fee has probably in the last few years. As far as equality. I really do wish that everyone was getting paid equally on every set in a utopic world, in a world of utopia. You know, everyone is getting paid equally, but that's just really not reality. And especially in the entertainment industry, you know, it started with Cameron Diaz, and women have absolutely had to prove themselves. We're still having to prove ourselves. It's unfair, but it's a system. I know that the entertainment industry, as you all know, as we all know right now, it's run mostly by women. I mean, men, but the women are getting more and more into power. And I feel like justice is prevailing a little bit more.
Definitely. I definitely have seen
as far as that goes. But yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I've seen a shift even with the Me Too movement. I think that really kind of kickstarted, we're not equal. I don't want to say we're never going to be equal, because I truly believe that change will come when enough people spearhead it. But maybe when we were at like this before, now we're slowly getting up there. So I can only hope it continues to go in this direction.
Absolutely.
Kat, what are your thoughts on all this?
Okay, so for a start, I think Don't Worry Darling, I think it is similar to the real world. In the real world, men tend to get a higher, I was going to say a higher wage, a higher salary. And part of the reason men are seen as stronger, women are seen, and this isn't true, like women are strong people, but women are seen as weaker. They're seen as people who are going to put family first, children first, get distracted from actually doing the job because, like they've got a child who's ill and everything else. And I think that plays a big part in it. And, we're making strides, but we're still so backward. And it's like, there's so many women in power, like Britain has just got a female prime minister. But yet the US of A, it's never had a female president yet. So we still have strides to take. Now, going back to Don't Worry, Darling, Florence Pugh is an actress of the moment. She is super talented. She's in high demand. She is the lead actress in the film. She deserves the bigger wage on paper. But then you've got Harry Styles, who's the supporting actor. He didn't get rave reviews out of Venice for his acting in this film, but he is the name. He is the person that's selling out stadium after stadium after stadium after stadium. And when it comes down to the box office, partly also because we have had lockdown, people haven't been going to the theatre, to the cinema to watch a movie. Florence Pugh, despite being one of the biggest names in Hollywood right now, she's not a name to Joe Public. People might have heard of her, but a lot of her film choices, aren't mainstream. And you have to look at the audience. You're going to get every single woman who's paying to scream at Harry Styles during a concert, wanting to go see him in this film. Because one, there is a lot of sex. Harry Styles does get a little bit naked from what I hear. And the female consumer is going to pay to see that. In life, the male consumer, they don't go because, say, Florence Pugh is starring. They go because it's a Marvel film, it's an action thriller, it's a horror, it's an adventure. They're not, it doesn't matter who the star is, they go for the storyline and the type of film it is. So you've got to look at male and female consumers. And I think that's why there is a pay difference there. Florence Pugh is the most talented, she deserves a bigger pay, she was the lead actress, but Harry Styles is the name that's pulling people into the box office. And no, it's not right. It's not right that he got more money than Florence, who's so talented, it's untrue. But the world is not a fair place. The world is definitely not a fair place. And hopefully one day they will consider talent, they will consider who the lead is, but right now, he's the one who's pulling people to the box office. He's the one that's going to make the film make money because it's Harry Styles. And he's like a global superstar. He's one of the most famous men on this planet right now. And that counts for a lot. It really does count for a lot. As to the rest of the drama that happened with Don't Worry, Darling, I'm obsessed. I am obsessed. I really am. I did work on the film. And whether or not the affair happened when she was still technically with her ex-partner, I don't know, but all the drama that's happened since, the fallings out, it is a soap opera. It's brilliant. It is the best publicity wheel ever because people are engrossed with finding out about, the latest drama from the premieres, why Florence Pugh's not doing, the actual press, she's just walking the carpet, why she's not publicized on Instagram when she normally publicizes all her films so well. I mean, there is beef going on there. There is beef. And I think it creates excitement around the film. I do think it creates excitement around the film. So, yes, I mean, I am obsessed right now. We all know that I love celebrity. We all know that I like drama. I want a front row seat to this. I really do. And like I said, I love the film. I enjoyed the days that I did work on it. And I actually thought that Harry and Florence, from seeing them talk on set, I thought they had chemistry. And I was so wrong, because in the film, everyone's saying they had no chemistry at all. For the days I was on set, I was like, oh. But obviously I got that very wrong. It's probably why I'm single, not in a relationship, because I read that so wrong. But yeah, I'm super excited, and I probably will go and see it, mainly because I'm interested in it, because I did do some work on it. But yeah, also, like I said, Harry Styles, hello, Harry Styles. I would go see it, Harry Styles.
Totally. I'm definitely going to go see it too. I like to joke that I am like Marie Kondo. I love mess. This has been nothing short of messy. There was a meme out there saying that the premiere and Venice and all that got a higher rating on Rotten Tomatoes than the actual movie. I am living for the Don't Worry Darling memes. However, Kat, to your point about Harry getting paid more because he is the bigger name, I definitely thought of that as well. A lot of this is transactional. Hollywood is all about business. But I think the thing that stuck out so much to me was the range of difference, right? We're not talking she made $1 million and he made 2.5, or she made $2 million and he made 2.5. She made $700,000 and he made $2.5 million. There is a whole extra zero in there. So it is wild to me that the disparity is just so great. And knowing that part of it is because we're women, like, that just gets me fired up.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I am for equal rights with women. I really am. Yeah. And the fact that he made 3.5 times the amount when he is a rookie when it comes to acting. I mean, he's even said he doesn't know what he's doing. And I love the fact he's so honest about that. But yeah, Florence did. On paper, she definitely deserved the bigger salary for this film. Yeah. And I would have loved to see her get it. I really would have loved to see her get the money she deserved for her talents, because she's incredible. She is incredible.
Yeah, justice for Florence, but I'm still going to be seeing that movie. Let's talk about some more leading ladies in the press. It's The Bachelorette. We're winding down to the finale. Now, this show has been through a whole lot of changes. First of all, it's been on since like the dawn of time. We had Chris Harrison as the host. Obviously, he's no longer on the show anymore. And I feel like just over the years, it's evolved from people truly trying to find their person to kind of like a media circus. So I want your take on this. Do you think it's effective in helping people find love? Do you think that people are just on it for the fame now? And if you were given the opportunity, even if you're married, let's say you were given the opportunity years ago to go on the show, would you have done it, or is this not for you? And Holly, let's get your take on that.
Absolutely. I honestly, Diana, I feel like this goes back to the whole Nelson ratings. The first time I heard that, it was just blown completely away. I was like, no, Nelson family, no. And I had no idea where it would take it. And Married at First Sight, The Bachelorette, stars in the media so much, especially the one character from Bachelorette. There was like those headlines that said something like, what was it? There was one bachelor, and I have no idea where, like one bachelor, where he is now. I am completely blown away by the fact that they set these people up and then they get people involved in this, and it's just like, ooh, I mean, my emotions are come with. I was like, I root for these people to be together. I root for these people to have this bachelor, to have this bachelorette. I'm rooting for these women, and they're driven to do so many things. But can you imagine, the camera is on them and they have to give their consent to that, and they're like, okay, like Kat said, they're completely vulnerable. Like Harry Styles, they're completely vulnerable on there and about yourself on the media. So I really feel like the turnout of this is just like Married at First Sight. It's unexpected, but it gets the ratings. Bottom line, their lives are vulnerable, and the truth is they're probably not behind the scenes. That's not their love life. Their love life is somewhere domesticated, sitting down, drinking a cup of tea in front of the fireplace with their cat. Totally. So I just feel like that. I don't know if anyone's out there like me. Yeah, we all just want to believe in love. If we don't, we want to believe in something. So
Yeah, and it's to your point about like their love life being totally different. Look at how many times over the years on this show you've seen people come on, contestants come on, and it's like, oh, they were talking to someone back home, or they already had someone, and it's really hard to assume you're going to go into an environment. Like if I was cast on The Bachelor tomorrow, would I like cut off any ties that I have here to kind of lay it on the line for like me against 30 other women competing for the same guy? It's kind of, it's interesting when you think of it that way, but then you get sucked, you get put on this show and you get sucked into this little, it's almost like a vortex because there's no cell phones, no TV, no nothing. And they're like, you're here for the wrong reasons, and any concept of your real life gets pushed away. So this show, it's really something else. Kat, what are your thoughts about this?
Okay, so The Bachelor, I'm going to say it's fake. It is so fake. They actually have, you know, on like casting networks and places, they are wanting contestants. You know, like me, I can go and I can apply to be on this reality show, and it's great, but you're getting actors, you're getting models, you're getting wannabe famous people. And I would sign up tomorrow. I would sign up. I want my 15 minutes. I want my exposure. I wouldn't go on there to find love because I don't think that's what it's about anymore. I think it's about using it as a platform to launch yourself. Like if I was on there, I would be on there and I'd be larger than life. I would probably try and be like Christine from Selling Sunset and stir a bit of drama. And I would want to leave there with being memorable, because memorable would lead to hopefully more work because people would know who I am. And so it's fake. It is so fake. And there are some exceptions where love has been found, and that is amazing. That's beautiful. That's great. And some people probably do go on it for the right reasons. But a lot of people like me who are like, sign me up, sign me up. Hi, I'm here. I want to be on The Bachelor. We're going on it for the wrong reasons. I would go on it for the wrong reasons. And I think it's run its course. I really do think it's run its course. I think it got boring after a number of seasons. And, you know, you can mix it up, but it comes down to it. It's watching the same show on repeat over and over and over. You've just got a different cast. It's like they've been remaking some films recently, and they've remade White Men Can't Jump. Why? The original was fine. Why are you doing a poor job of something that was fine, but something that people don't want nowadays because it's not 30 years ago, you know? And it's the same with The Bachelor. They have literally sucked all the blood out of that show. And it's time to finish it. It's time to finish it. I've had no interest in watching it for seasons now. And I used to love it. I used to be there and I'll be like, oh, who's not getting the rose? Who's leaving? And, you know, same with Love Island, Big Brother. I think they do things too much. But absolutely, I would go on the show tomorrow and I would be the person who's larger than life and who's trying to make a name for myself. And that would be my
I would be rooting for you. I'd like help you plan your limo entrance. Be like, let's go. Let's strategize. Let's get you noticed.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what it's all about. It's the whole reason for doing reality TV. You know, it's if you play your cards right, you can become the star of the series. You know, you don't have to be the Bachelor or the Bachelorette. You can be one of the cast members, but you need to be memorable. You know, what the Bachelor doesn't know when he's giving out roses is what's happening behind closed doors. So you can be the biggest bitch. You can be stirring the pot. And your housemates, your fellow, you know, contestants, like cast members, they could hate you, absolutely hate you, but he's not going to know that. And when you're with him on a date, you can be sweet as pie and absolutely fake, or you can be yourself and you can play the cards.
It's all about that strategy.
It is. It's totally about it. So would I find real love? No. But then I'm unlucky in love in real life. So there we go. But
there you go. It's no different. You just go on the
tomorrow.
show and get some moolah out of it. Exactly.
Why not? Why not? The world does not function without that. So,
exactly. I want
not
to take it over to Eugenia, actually, though, because she is married, and I feel like she is gonna have a different take on it, because we're repping the single gals out here, and she's got kids, so I want that different perspective from you.
Okay, well, I know a few people on the show, so I can tell you honestly, it's all for fame in the beginning. Like it's a casting, not casting couch, but it's casting.
Yeah.
And you do get 5 minutes of fame, but you know, I despise it. I can tell you honestly, like people who I know, they would get an agent for acting and expect that everything would just be given to them because they have that. And I have this kind of, you know, relationship with TikTok and any kind of social media, just because I believe you have to have skills to actually do something. And I know people who would be on the show and then expect just the acting parts appear without like even, and then they act the drama part behind the scenes if they're on set, you know, because you're just so used to be high on this drama. I think it's exploitation of the concept of like finding true love. You know, I do believe in true love. I think it's real. I think it takes a lot of work. And, you know, it's not that easy. Like, it's not about the looks. I'm sure they cast a specific thing about, you know, like how you look, and they put it all together. And I think it's damaging, you know, I think it's very damaging for people involved because they don't have any control. So talking about like equal payment, like this is the bottom of it. You know, there's no rights for you to have any kind of footage, and the producers actually stir you to have the drama. They will find your most vulnerable weakness parts and like find the drama. It's not even you have to create it, they will find it for you, and that it will mess up with your brain neurals. I know people who finish up in mental hospitals because they were on the shows like that. Any kind of reality TV, unless it's positive. I've done one reality TV, it's called I Can See Your Voice, and it's actually about like, you know, something positive or inspiring. I think the other reality shows have to go, you guys. It's enough. We live in a different world. We don't want to feel onto this negative drama. And like, good luck to people who find love on the show. That's super rare. And then good luck working on your marriage after you finish that show, you know, or working on whatever your relationship. Like, I don't even care about marriage. I think, you know, marriage is an outdated institution anyway, but good luck, you know, like processing that trauma, being on that show, you know, after like you're just exposed, like good luck. Like if you're there years, good luck. That's all.
You said it. And I'm glad you brought up the stuff about producers. There's a really great, it's a scripted show. I don't remember what, it might have been on Lifetime. I think it's on Hulu. It's called Unscripted, and it's loosely based off The Bachelor and the drama the producers would put girls through. So you see them trying to stereotype people. You see them creating the scenarios, as Eugenia explained before. So it's a really great show. I think I binged it in a really short amount of time. But yeah, it just goes to show that like, these shows are so manipulated. I think the show came out in the 90s. When it first came out, I was very little. Tristan and Ryan, they were the first couple. I do think they were a great success because this was so new. You know, we didn't have Instagram. We didn't have Twitter. You weren't making six figures for hitting post for promoting skinny tea or whatever the hell it's called, right? So the idea of going on a show to find love, like there was that naivety to all that. So I think that's why it worked then. But as Kat mentioned before, it's the same thing over and over again. And now you got everyone who's hungry for fame, which no shame, I would be too. I would be like Team Kat, like going on to go on. If someone gave me the contract, I would be like Ariel and signing my voice away. So I get it. But also, I think it's time to reinvent the wheel, as we mentioned before, with many of these shows. And you know what? Like, as Eugenia mentioned before, it's not, people are putting their mental health in danger, and it's just not a good ending. So on that note, with mental health, I do want to talk about that too, because celebrities now are being more open about self-care and really taking time to just put their needs first and put their mental health first. And the latest person to do that was Justin Bieber. He was dealing with some health scares. He had Ramsay Hunt syndrome, which paralyzed part of his face. Called off his tour, went back on, and now he's like, just kidding, guys, I gotta sign off. We know The Weeknd recently in LA, he was doing a show, right in the middle, lost his voice and had to stop. I've seen Billie Eilish had to stop shows. Simone Biles dropped out of the part of the Olympic competitions because of her mental health. So I want to know, has there ever been a time where you've been in a similar situation where you've had to make a difficult decision to put your self-care first? Or also, what do you think of these celebrities prioritizing their self-care and, you know, maybe disappointing their fans, but for a very good reason? And Kat, I want to kick it over to you.
Okay, so we all know that I am an advocate for mental health. I have had depression, I have had eating disorders. And I think it's so important. There's a saying, no foot, no horse. Now, without health. You're a shell of a person. You are a broken shell. And you have to prioritize yourself, because your fan, they're obsessed with you, but they don't know you. You have to be able to function. You have to be able to live in your skin. We have seen celebrities commit suicide. We've seen the drugs overdoses. We've seen the depression. We've seen like Robin Williams. He's a great example. Everyone thought he was the happy guy. He made people laugh, but he was crying inside. And I think it's so important to take time for yourself. And I think as the consumer, I'm going to call us consumer, I think we should embrace it. We should be proud of that performer that said, I need to work on myself. I need to get healthy. I'm struggling up here right now, or I just don't feel good. I think we should say bravo. I really do. And, Sam Mendes, he has taken time out recently. And I just think it's brilliant. I think it's a great example to the young generations now who, they don't have the same life that we had growing up. They have the TikToks, they have the Snapchats, they have the Instagrams. Most of them don't even have Facebook now, I don't think, because it's more about creating these videos and being a celebrity. And you burn out. If you don't know how to deal with that, you burn out, even if you do it on a small level. And I think it's important to teach people, you need to put yourself first. And I just think all these celebrities that are going out there and saying, I can't do it, I need a break, good on them. And like myself, I've been through some times where I've had to take a step back because my health did deteriorate. I had my first experience that when I was 16. I put a lot of pressure on myself. I'm a type A personality. And I was going towards my GCSEs, and I actually could not take my art exam when everybody else took it because I had a breakdown. I actually had a breakdown over my GCSEs, and I had to be written off school for 3 weeks to recover myself. And I was very lucky. The exam board allowed me to take the art exam during the school holidays. So my lovely teacher at the time came in, and the art exam was something like 10 hours, 12 hours, something like that, and came in and did a one-on-one with me under exam conditions during the school holidays. And I was very blessed that I got given that opportunity because I was broken. I was very broken. And with my A-levels, I nearly pulled out of those too. So I did not go to university. I have no education past A-levels because I couldn't cope with the stress. And, later in life, I have had to take time out because when I am stressed, when outside things are affecting me, until very recently, I'm going to say, I self-abused, as in I would have flare-ups of anorexia and stuff like that. And I mean, that is a form of self-abuse. It is a form of torturing yourself. And I had to take time out. I actually had to take 1 year out because my weight fell to 75 pounds. I nearly lost my life. I was 75 pounds for a year, and I had to take total stop. And I had to get myself mentally, physically back on track. And I've been very open and honest on this show since I joined. And I think it's very important to work towards your own mental health every day. Like I tell people, I get on my spin bike and I spin hard for an hour every morning because it helps me keep everything in check and it helps me stay healthy. And I work every single day on my health. And I'm proud of who I am, where I've been and where I am now. And I still work with my stress levels and stuff like that because I am one of these people that does put a lot of pressure on myself. And I think it is about taking a step back, letting out a breath, and just managing your own health and managing it positively, because unless you're in check, you can't do your best in life, you can't give to other people. And so it's so important to look after yourself, and good on all these celebrities. They are a shining example of what you should do. And bravo to them, basically. There's something they should be very proud of.
Beautifully said. And thank you, of course, for always being so open about everything, because as these celebrities are using their platform and putting themselves first, it sets the example. I'll share more later on, but growing up, I wish I had this example because I'm kind of the person that's like, no, we just keep going and going, and that doesn't end up well for anyone involved. Eugenia, what's your experience with mental health and putting yourself first and all these celebrities?
Well, it's so funny, my husband sent me this podcast and exactly about that. I think Jonah Hill, he announced that he's going to stop any public kind of like advertisement of the films, doing red carpets. And I understand that, it's like him going, Kat, like you said, you were struggling with the body issue. He was struggling with the body issue as well for a long time, and just being like judged all the time on how you look and what your weight is. I think it's devastating, it takes a toll. So I can see it firsthand. We had Charlie Sheen call this morning to my husband. Is like, I quit all the drugs for 5 years, and finally you appreciate not doing that than trying to cope with the industry. And when you're so brilliant and talented, it's really hard because, you're in demand all the time, and just to kind of like take care of yourself and say like, no, this is my boundary. I stop at that. I can see it all the time with artists. I talk to a lot of artists. I have a lot of musician artists who struggle with that. I think music industry is even harder than the acting or any kind of, artist industry in that sense, because they just demand to like perform all the time. And yeah, I mean, I think COVID and, it made us like reflect a lot on self-care, because we're put in this survival mode, and our relationships as well. Like from sharing also personal things, like Kat is very open. I love that. Like I want to buy a house in Malibu, for example. We live in West Hollywood, but I need a place where I can work and, kind of like take care of myself as well, and not just be caretaking all the time about everybody. And I study with this amazing coach. Her name is Margie Haber, in LA, and she wrote this book. I don't know if I can share it, but it's like F Your Comfort Zone, which I almost got banned from the plane. But she talks about how we like play all these roles of like victim and like rescuer. And me and my husband were read it together, and he's like, you were totally playing the victim and then play the rescuer, and like, let's take a space and be in the adult mode, so we are like refiguring our whole relationship. And I think it's beautiful. And I think being in like time now, I think talking about Bachelorette, love is much more than just whatever norms we have. And I think self-care comes first, because, in a simple way, like if you don't have the glass half full, you can't do anything else. So it all comes to that basic thing of self-care.
Very good points. And it's also, you explained it so beautifully, how self-care evolves when you're in a relationship. It's not just about you. And, even being a mom at that point, it's kind of like the saying in the plane, like you have to put your mask on before you put the mask on for others. So I imagine that's something that crosses your mind every day when you have kids, just taking care for yourself, showing up for yourself so you could show up as the best version for your kids.
I try. Yeah, kids always come first, but they wouldn't appreciate that. That's for sure.
Totally. Holly, what are your thoughts about self-care?
I love self-care. Let's break it down though. Self-care itself, it's really all about you. And I'm going to be really honest. I love heal and things like that. And there definitely needs to be a level, just certain a balance of that. You know what I'm saying? I love that Eugenia. I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna continue something that she said in particular. She knows a lot of people in the music industry. The business side of me thinks this way. I wonder what they did in breach of their contracts, because I know my brother's a musician, and he also, my brother has suffered depression in his life. I have a sibling who has suffered depression. We all deal with those kind of things, and we all have to cope, and we all kind of just have to, so I admire Kat's, vulnerability as far as that goes, and bravo that you've come so far. Oh my gosh, I just want to say that first and foremost. So I'm going to piggyback off of Kat and Eugenia for a second. The fact that mental illness and the fact that any disease, you have to take certain precautions, and there's medication, there's things involved, there's doctors' vices, but there's also the business side of me. I come from my mother is single, working now, but she was. I come from a very powerful mother. I come from a very powerful woman that worked. She worked all of her life. And like you guys are saying, the generation before us, the generations that have come before us did not have this. They believed you had to go to work. You had to go to work if you were puking but if you were puking your guts out, you had to go to work. If you were blah, blah, you had to go to work. If there was a hurricane right on your street, you had to go to work. I mean, no excuse. It was that but you had to come trumpet blowing, so I'm curious to know in the music world, because my brother is a music manager. Basically, okay, what I'm wondering is this. I wonder how they reported this news and how they've worked it out, if they're in breach of contract with their performances, with their concerts. I'm wondering the business toll that this is taking on them, because what this is telling all fans everywhere is it's okay. Even the smallest thing, and depression and paralysis on your face is not small. No disease is ever small. I get that. I totally understand that. But there are levels of that. And sometimes you still have to perform it if it's in your contract. And so I'm just curious, if it's in contract, what they've done, and legally how they've gotten out of that, and how, even though it's out in headlines, how they've gotten to the level of, oh, okay, it's okay that I canceled this concert. It's okay that I canceled that concert. So their mantra is to perform because they're an artist. It's a mantra to do what you have to do. In lieu of your struggles, you have to continue on. And so there's a side of me that's going, but you're kind of teaching your fans that this is okay, that it's okay to cancel more, that it's okay to cancel more than it is to show up others, maybe that's just me and the harsh side of me that comes from a powerful working mom, but there's just that other side. I totally believe in self-care, but it's yourself, and there are others at stake, and there are contracts that are involved in certain things, and there are so many aspects. So everyone had really great points, and thank you for allowing me to speak.
Yeah, of course. And I think to that point, I feel like in the situation with The Weeknd, I know concert tickets were refunded that night. I'm sure Justin Bieber's refunding people with his tour and whatever. I feel like probably these musicians, and maybe Eugenia can speak more to this because she knows people in the industry, but I feel like at some point they weigh like, what's more expensive? Giving people like me taking the money loss on this, or my mental health going downhill for this. So it might be more worth it to them to take the bite in their wallet. I'm trying to think what the expression is. Eat the money.
Have you guys seen the Elvis movie? I think it's a good example of, how far the manager relationship goes to the artist. And I think I was devastated after watching it because it relates so much to like artist and business relationship.
Yeah.
Yes.
I haven't seen it yet, but I'm told I should. But I can only imagine what goes on behind closed doors. We think we know so much about these celebrities, but we never truly know because we're not living their lives.
I want to say that to perform well, they have to look after themselves, and the manager will know their ins and their outs, what they're going through and everything else. And I'm going to say, I think they are setting a good example because they're not breaking. They're walking away from something and saying, I need a break. And their job is, they're performing in front of tens of thousands of people every night. And they have insurance policies, and they have a good insurance policy that costs them a lot of money, which is why tickets are so expensive, to give them the exit if they need it. And I think as the audience, the consumer, if we don't appreciate the performer for who they are, what they're going through, because we don't know what they're going through behind closed doors, then we as human people are vile, just vile, because you have to, for example, if any of you had a problem, I would be I'd come round and I would do what I could to help you. And I think as human people, we don't like to see people break. We like to try and help them. We like to see them thrive. And I think that exit door and the insurance policy is so important. And I think as a fan who's paying tickets to go see this performer, you can see them again. You can see them another time. Right now, that person is the most important thing out there. It's not the fact that you've paid money for this ticket. You'll get your money back. Yes, you'll be disappointed because you didn't see the show you wanted to see, but that person is a human being. They're living, they're breathing, and they're going home and they have to deal with so much. They have pressures of performing every night, and I think as humans we have to more or less celebrate the performer when they say, I need a break.
Definitely.
So
Totally. I want to add to this, like it's actually about humanizing any artist. Talking on Bachelor, it's not like using them, but I remember Jim Carrey was at this Harper Bazaar icons party and somebody asking him like, are you an icon? And I remember his like viral video saying, we're not icons, we're like nothing, or whatever he said it in such a funny way and people didn't understand that, but I think it was very profound. We have to humanize. We can't like put somebody on a pedestal and deny it, because I think anybody has a potential to be great. Anybody. It's not about just like putting somebody else on the pedestal and praying on them and like burning them.
Totally. I wish I had these people doing this when I was younger. Even I was in high school 12 years ago, it was my senior year of high school. That was when my mental health started declining. And I remember there was just a day I woke up and I was like, I don't want to go to school today. I went to a very competitive school, all girls Catholic high school. I'm someone who loves school ever since I was a baby. And I just remember feeling immense guilt for staying home, because mental health days, even in the year 2010, were not a thing like they are now. So I'm glad that these celebrities are being so forward about this. If it's done for the right reasons, like Justin Bieber, and like everyone we mentioned, and not like that country music star who canceled a concert to watch the March Madness basketball game, like that. No, I'm sorry. Don't miss me with that. But if you're doing it for the right reasons, like I'm fully supportive of it. I think this is sending the right message. So I know we're running out of time, but I do want to end on a positive note. So the seasons are changing real quick. Are you making any goals for yourself? Are you trying new things? Tell me all about it. Eugenia, why don't we start with you?
Yeah, I'll be very quick. So I'm going to India for the first time with one of I'm actually taking time out, and I have so much offers, but I'm like, you guys, this is the time out. I was supposed to go to India when I got pregnant for Vogue and I couldn't go. And now I'm going with a spiritual person who's like part of my soul family. And I'm really excited to take this time just, to really see how deep I want to go and what I want to do about life, because time is short, and it's not about seasons, it's about 1 second at a time of where you can apply it.
That's beautiful. I can't wait to see all the pictures on your Instagram. How about you, Kat?
I want to say, first of all, Eugenia, you are going to love India. I spent about a year of my life there. So I was there actually modeling. I went for 3.5 months each time. It's amazing. It will really wake you up to different cultures and everything else. You're gonna love it, absolutely love it. I mean, it changed me as a human being, it changed me as a person, and I kept going back and getting a new contract, and I just really enjoyed being there. And I'm just going to say, you're going to have the most amazing time. It'll be very different to everything but it will be amazing. As to me, well, I've been saying this for a long time, because we all know that I'm like a highly stressed person. I push myself, I'm type A personality. I want to start yoga. I really want to start yoga. One, people that do yoga have absolutely banging bodies. And I'm going to say, when my dog got older, obviously I wasn't doing as much exercise with her. I was like sitting around more, just keeping her company. And I did get skinny fat. I'm going to say, I'm not toned like I was before. So I want to do yoga because I want a banging body. But secondly, everyone says how amazing it is for up here, and how much you have to focus, how you kind of clear your mind. And I want to experience that. I've always been the person that I need to go hiking, I need to get on the spin bike, I need to run. I've always been the high energy person that has to be on the go the whole time. Like I can't do weights at the gym because it's too slow for me. I want to be the person who's there So I need to do yoga to teach myself more about myself and to slow down, to take a breath and to get the banging body.
Love that. I also would recommend aerial yoga. I did it for a very long time and it was amazing.
I've seen that, the ribbon stuff. I have seen it. I would love to do that. Yes.
Nothing like it in the world. Holly, what do you got going on with the change of the seasons? Anything exciting?
Absolutely. Well, a habit that I'd really like to pick up more is timing. Timing is everything. It really, and to wait a little bit more, because I'm gonna go ahead and expose myself like Kat exposed herself. I'm like a really on the go person, and for women, we are emotional creatures, and so this doesn't always line up as far as timing and such. That's where I read Atomic Habits. That's why I love Eugenia. She busted she broke in a book for us. So you know what? She broke in a book. I'm gonna break in a book. I see your book, and I'm gonna up you Atomic Habits. There you go. So anyone else have any books for me? Because that's really what, habit that I'd like to develop in more, of course, timing, of course. And of course, improving yourself, traveling more, of course, just being more positive. I am really hard on myself. I don't think despite what seems to be the picture about me, I am very hard on myself. And so as a person, what this next season is telling me is lighten up and celebrate. My gosh, we don't celebrate ourselves enough. And I keep saying, I want to celebrate myself, but get the self off of me, because I don't want it to always be about the self when I'm celebrating and being more positive. So out more and just kind of stay in that positive mindset. So, and painting helps a lot with that. What I would love to do is paint more. Portrait painter. I'm a portrait painter. So I would love to just start doing more unconventional paintings and get more into that and just expose the creativity like that. So
yeah. That's a beautiful release. For me, I am committing every morning to doing some thought work, downloading my thoughts, working through the ones that aren't so great, just so I could show up better in all areas of my life. And I also signed up for my first Orange Theory class on Monday. I'm going to go back to a fitness class. I'll let you know how it all goes. Hopefully I'll still be here next Friday to report the details. Still alive and kicking. I want to thank you guys so much. Kat, Eugenia, Holly, great first show. We're so happy you're part of the family. And I want to thank you for tuning in to the FNL Network Talk Show. We are here every single week, which means we're going to be back next week with more. So we'll talk to you then. Bye.